Well, good morning and welcome to another episode of the Real Estate Heavyweights podcast. I'm Ashton Hines and I'm here with Tavis Westbrook. What's up, Tavis?
What it be? What it be, my friend?
Oh, I would say not a mucho, but I've got mucho. I mucho.
Hey, so we're making waves. I was going to tell you, I did tell you we went to that closing the other morning, and
Yeah, tell that story. That was really cool.
Yeah, and so he's going to kill me because I forget his name off the top of my head. But I was at the closing and walking out, and I guess the receptionist said something, regarding my name, and he said, "Are you Tavis Westbrook?" I said, "Yes, sir." And he's like, "I listen to your podcast." I was like, "Oh, that's amazing." So he's a local investor here. He fix and flips. He was closing out one, said he had one and Plano was struggling to sell it. So we kind of just talked through that. Hopefully, if he's listening, I hope you're doing well. I hope making progress on that flip in Plano and getting that thing sold. It is kind of tricky out there right now with this market. And then also our good friend Susan Casson, who actually has engaged and hired myself and my team, Tommy and David, as part of my team for the design work. And she owns a home in Canyon Creek.
Yeah.
And we just started that project. And I was talking to her last night about her project. And she goes, "Hey, by the way, tell Ashton that I listen to your podcast every week, and I listen to the podcast, and I downloaded that book that he mentioned, The Full Price Real Estate Agent.
Nice.
And I absolutely love it. Tell him thanks so much."
Cool.
So,
yeah. Awesome. Well, hello, Susan.
So
and that's who
we have
we
a lot
walked,
of silent
her,
listeners.
We walked her property that she was doing a broker's open at one day, right?
Mm-hmm. So she sold it. Said she's under contract. They haven't closed yet, but they're pretty close to asking, actually, which is amazing. It was a beautiful, beautiful property. In fact, there's a handful of things that they were inspired about that property that they want to incorporate into their design. So we're looking.
That was one of the
that.
coolest kitchens I've been in a long time.
Absolutely. Yeah. Very, very cool with that. So, ironically enough, that house, talking about, it was funny because she brings this up. She goes, "Oh, by the way, how's it going with your house?" Which was, I guess the buyers buying this property, and if you remember, sometimes this happens with Pure and Beam homes, is that you smell this musty, mildewy smell. And unfortunately, and you went through this on Polk, but underneath the home was getting a lot of moisture underneath the home and the Pure and Beam. And so they ended up exploring that, and then got a mold company involved, and they came up with a protocol and said, "Hey, do this and this and this." And so they're going through that process right now of doing this remediation essentially in the crawl space. And it's not in the house. It was a little different design, but they're getting through that and working that out. But she said, "Well, how's your moldy house going?" So I told her kind of where we're at. Fortunately, I think we found the culprit. And as much as we thought it was leaking from the washer box, as we pulled everything apart and got into it, it looked like it was leaking from a toilet flange. Like the toilet flange wax ring was gone, and it was just constantly leaking out from that toilet, from the bottom of it. And if you remember, I don't know if you walked that house with me yet or not. Did you?
Well, I was there the other day when Pablo.
You were there the other day, okay?
Yeah.
But when I was first in it, there was standing water everywhere.
Oh my gosh!
I mean, it wasn't much,
okay.
But it was like
if there was standing water combined with the amount of rat poop that was already on the floor, that house was a disaster.
It was at least like an inch and a half of water kind of running through that house before.
Good
and
night.
So,
water.
And it turns out it was basically from the toilet flange. We are replacing the sewer here, but all that water in there, I guess with it sealed up and the windows shut and the house being vacant, AC not on, it just created this just
Who knew?
Perfect environment. So it wicked up the walls. So when we pulled out the sheetrock in those areas, it really doesn't look bad. Like
No, it
it
really
doesn't look,
doesn't.
it
The
doesn't look
studs
bad at
are all
all where the
looking
studs
good,
are.
and
So I'm
yeah.
hoping for a pretty positive result once the uh, guy comes back with a protocol and
So
it's
speaking
not
of water,
over
I,
challenging.
I didn't tell you this.
Uh
I
oh.
well, I walked a house the other day, a really cool house,
Yeah.
and um, so I've been posting on the luxury homes and luxury garage and hangar homes of North Texas. So
By the
that's
way,
my
if you
Facebook
haven't
page.
subscribed, you guys need to go subscribe
Subscribe,
because there's
yes,
some really cool, unique properties that Ashton's posting on
yeah.
there. Um, several times a month, and I mean they're just really cool, bizarre homes that you may not be privy to unless you're going to this page.
Yeah. So yeah, we're out there trying to find just interesting homes. We're going to talk about one actually later in the episode today that will go on there, and it sort of hits a lot of different marks for us. But so I've been posting on there. I have a friend, Charlie, who's a car guy who I'm actually doing a lot of my lease listing work is through his company, and
Yeah.
he's a Hebron dad, band dad. So we've kind of crossed circles several different times, and so but a big car guy, and he has a private garage, Garages of America unit over there in Plano, and he lives there. And so we were talking. We were actually down for the DCI band in San Antonio. He wanted to bring his boys down there to listen. And a couple weekends ago, we were having lunch, and he said something about, man, he just got a new car. So he just got a classic a Japanese Land Cruiser. So it's a right side drive Land Cruiser.
Oh, that's cool.
And yeah, and it's awesome. It's a really clean looking. So he has a handful of other cars, and he's like, man, I'm gonna have to park this one outside and blah blah blah. He's like, I need a little bit more space. I was like, I know of a hangar home that's actually really close to you, and it's because I had been doing this research for the Facebook page, and I was able to post it over there. And so he got really excited, and we booked it. It's actually an Airbnb. It's there in Plano. It's a hangar home in this really interesting neighborhood, and we went to go look at it. Turns out he loved it, and for the most part, his wife did not. It's really laid out more for an Airbnb. The master bedroom and closet situation, the bedroom and the bathroom were amazing, but there's just not a lot of closet space. And as
Yeah.
an Airbnb, it functions great. But and it's a 3-level home, and again, it's like all day, if your life revolves around going up the stairs to take groceries to the main kitchen level, it just doesn't work out great. But it creates a lot of really neat balconies and spaces for an Airbnb. But the interesting thing about it was this house was built in 73, I think, and it said it had a basement. So we opened up this door and we go down, and you could tell it had 5 layers of kilts and sealer paint and all this on all the walls, very thick kind of sealed paint. And it
Mm-hmm.
had a sump pump down there.
Oh
And I
wow.
guess it was storage. But then, so Charlie actually had talked to the previous owner who he ran into, who lives in the neighborhood still. And they said,
He
yeah,
was stalking him.
it works. Yeah, he was talking. Yeah, he's very good at that. And he said when it rains really hard, there'll be 2 feet of water in that
Oh no.
basement. And I'm thinking, well, what's the purpose? Like, why would anyone?
Yeah.
Why would you even? I guess you can't fill it in. Maybe they built it in 73 thinking this was going to be a great storage area, but then
Yeah.
now they have the sump pump down there, and so I'm sure it's better. But I just don't know what the purpose would be other than just holding in moisture and
Oh yeah.
mosquitoes and a mold farm. Like, I just don't. It's really weird.
That is weird. Well, you remember that house that we walked in Cedar Creek
Mm-hmm.
that wasn't intended to have a lower
No,
level, and
they
they
had a
decided
Texas
it would be a
basement
great idea to
walkout.
convert it, and then all of a sudden had all these sub pumps in there, and
Yeah, what they did
then
is they had a deck underneath the main house, and they're like, you know what, we should put some walls up and put a floor down.
yep,
And they did it, and they did not do it properly, and it just trapped all this moisture in there. And then every time it rained or whatever, there would be. So you walked into the master closet, and there's a pump in there. It's just
yeah.
never a good sign. If you walk into a
Yeah,
closet, and
and
there's
the
a
more we
water pump
explored, I'm
there.
like, okay, this was not part of the house. Like this was never
No,
intended to be part of the house before,
no.
and it was in a floodplain. I mean, it was if the water gets up high enough from the water, that's going to come into the
Yeah.
house. So
So that was cool to go show him that house. That one didn't work out, and they kind of have a really specific area they're looking for. So the idea of another car property popping up, that's not in that,
sure.
maybe another house in that neighborhood would pop up, and it would be a good fit. But it was kind of neat to learn about the airfield properties and the things you have to consider, and
Yeah.
ingress and egress for the airplanes and
Oh yeah.
that sort of thing. So,
But what's
a
amazing is you're doing that and you've created this niche and you've already gotten some attention
little bit of attention, yeah,
and it's specific, right? And it's this niche, so the more that you can hone in on that and learn about it. I mean, I don't know anything in all my 20 plus years in real estate. I couldn't tell you any details about egress with planes and stuff like that
yeah,
because I've never dealt with it. So,
yeah. Yeah,
um,
it's pretty cool. And actually, I need to go over there. One thing I didn't do, I was so preoccupied with showing them the house, I didn't take any video.
uh,
And so I need to see if the agent will at least let me go back over there the next time it's not booked. And just like,
yeah.
can because I
Well,
told her about
just
the
tell her what you
page.
do. Yeah. Tell her
I
you're going to
did. And
do
she
it
was
for
like, well, I'm
marketing.
glad that you at least put my name on there. Some people don't put our names on there. And they have they have a brokerage it's called Airspace, I think. And it's
Oh,
only
wow.
airplane
Oh,
properties. That's what they
okay.
specialize in.
Oh,
And so I actually featured another one of theirs from up in McKinney the other day. So they would be a cool group to get to know and maybe get to go do some neat video every once in a while. Hey, I didn't mean to do this, but we did not do an episode last week. And,
no, we did not.
I don't know how much detail you want to get into it, but you've been going through it. You've been spending a lot of time in a hospital. Your sweet mother-in-law has been having some medical issues, and Tabitha and a sister, and I'm sure their family in general, has been super concerned and spending a lot of time in hospital rooms. And you've been going back and forth. Y'all had an Airbnb over there last week. And so just last week was in the height of trying to just figure everything out. And it just did not obviously work out to do a podcast. So,
Yeah.
any updates on her in the last few days?
I mean, little by little, day by day, there's a little bit of progress. Just for you people out there that don't know what happened, my mother-in-law, a week before Saturday, had an incident. Basically, it's a form of a heart attack, but it's worse because they call it sudden cardiac death. So essentially, her heart just completely stopped. And if she wasn't found, she wouldn't be here. But shortly after the incident happened, she was at a friend's house. Friend heard her collapse, went to the bathroom, started CPR immediately. They worked on her with CPR until the paramedics arrived. And it took some time. In fact, I think I've told you that she flatlined 3 different times, but
Yeah.
they only knew that because of the piece of paper that was, I guess, the EKG machine or whatever monitors the
Hmm.
heartbeat. The paramedics had it, and they threw away that trash in the bathroom trash.
Hmm.
And so my aunt is what we call her, or Tabitha's aunt, whatever, um, picked up the paper, and there was the showing the heartbeat, and it had flatlined 3 different
Hmm.
times. So
Wow.
a pretty wild, ride from that point of view. They ended up care flighting her out to Fort Worth, and hence why we end up, commuting back and forth to Fort Worth. The incident happened in Cleburne on that side of town. So essentially, um, she had a small heart procedure. The biggest challenge from that now has been more of a neurologic uh, situation where she's trying to come back to herself, and it's been extremely challenging. And prayers are welcome. We appreciate everyone praying, day by day, just to figure out, for her to remember who she is and where she is and who's who. And, she doesn't remember. She doesn't remember kids. She doesn't remember herself. She's slowly, there's pieces here and there each day that is getting better. And I haven't got an update today. Tabitha actually this morning told me that her mom just went to sleep at 5 a.m. this
Hmm.
morning, after being up all night. So
uh,
not conducive to Tabitha's work schedule, obviously. She's
no.
working from the hospital. She's on shift now. Her sister was on shift the early part of the week. Tabitha's there until Friday now. So it's been challenging for sure. I mean, just trying to facilitate this. And, she was in the ICU, downgraded to the PCU, and they're trying to figure out what the next steps look like and where she's going to go. So I think the next step is probably a rehab type of facility. So they're kind of navigating that, working through that. But essentially, Tabitha or her sister Dawn have been there 24/7 to facilitate this, just because um, she needs somebody there by her side. As far as, it started off with a very upset person, didn't know where they were, pulling out IVs, pulling out tubes, doing everything to get out of the bed, and obviously wasn't able to walk. And now it's much more manageable, but still trying to just navigate the waters. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Well,
been
luckily
challenging.
on this side of things, someone who is familiar with
Yes.
the home health world and the world of rehabs and skilled nursing and getting your house ready for someone to maybe come live with you for a little while and be a caregiver. And as you're talking about that, I'm thinking about your guest bedroom and the bathroom that's right across the hall. That's
Yep.
probably where she would be if she came to live for a little while. But
Yep.
I'm not sure that that door into there and into the shower and toilet room are wide enough for a walker.
They're not. No,
So like you're talking, and I'm like, we had this conversation the other day, and I'm envisioning that home health. Okay, let's go from your room. Let's try the bathroom, and we're doing all this sidestepping, and let me get over here, and So it might be something that you have to.
I mean, those are
think
24
about.
inches. That the master bedroom, which is also first level, is much more much more accessible.
Yeah.
Except for the shower door. The shower door is only 24 inches. So yeah, I mean, if that is what comes down to it, and I got to do some modifications, at least have the ability to do.
You do
that.
have a few guys. You've got a few
So,
guys that can do a few things.
yeah, and at least that bathroom and that guest bedroom are on the first level, right? So if it comes down to that, that's what we've got to do. That's what we got to do.
Yep.
I mean, it's funny how
well, we're thinking about her. I know you guys have your
work.
hands full, and Tabitha and her family are just worn out, and definitely, every time I talk with you, try to get an update, but I know at some point it's kind of like, well, it's a little bit of the same, a little bit of the same. It's like you just have to kind of the grind of just incremental improvements and stuff. I know can really wear people out. So definitely praying for you guys, thinking about you, and hopefully it comes out on the other side. And this is just kind of a blip that she can overcome, and y'all can get back to normal life and all that. So
thank you.
So speaking of guys that can do a few things, and then we'll get into news. And I was reminded yesterday, it's amazing to me. So I was going through pictures, two things. I was going through pictures and I take screenshots like a madman. And I have literally hundreds or thousands of just screenshots that kind of help me remember, okay, you were talking about this or that, but then they just pile up. Yeah. And scrolling back through my photos, I've just got all sorts of screenshots of Pinterest and a watch that I really liked, and a tattoo idea or whatever. It's like just constant.
And you can search a recipe by name, right? Like you could search on your photos and say watch, and then it'll pull up any picture of a watch that you ever took.
I may need to try it.
Same thing with tattoos,
yeah.
But okay, so keep going.
So I'm looking through these pictures. Well, I'm looking at all the before and afters of all the properties that I've done. It was really neat, kind of a harken back to, oh yeah, I forgot I had all these before pictures of Polk and of Mapleton and of my very first Cherrywood, which was the very first one I did. And so I am doing kind of a project management. So had sold a house, needed a bunch of work. They gave $14,000 to help with the work, but the person who bought the house can't really do that. And so I was like, well, I've got guys and I'm managing that project. And so it's a huge reminder of how little time I spent at my projects in the past and how much time I'm spending at this very small, basically small project. I mean, we put in 3 laminate beams to support the roof that was collapsing. It was a huge project, really, from a structural standpoint.
Yeah. So
but
people really jacked up a truss house.
Man. But just knowing, okay, showing up and getting the little details from the framer, Benji, of like, hey, we're doing this and we got to do this. And you're making these little micro decisions that either they would just completely skip over or they would do the best that they think they know to do. And then that happened again with Sheetrock. And I'm over there and I'm talking to the guy and I kind of know a little Spanish. And I think I've got a handle on the thing. And then yesterday, Adrian, the boss Sheetrock guy, says, hey, we're done over here cleaning up. I'm like, okay, cool. Were you able to get did your guy tell you that we wanted to do the hall ceiling too? No, he didn't mention that. I'm like, oh, he's like, all right, where are you? And when could you come back? And I was like, I'm on my way over there. And I said, I'm on my way over there.
Did you tell the Sheetrock guys that you were wanting to do that?
Yeah.
The original guys, the guy and the son? Yes. Oh, yeah, they don't care at all.
But that's the thing is like you're learning these little nuances. Like I just see like, okay, this is the Sheetrock team. Well, no, they are divided up and they don't really communicate a ton between the two of them. Like these are very segmented. These guys literally cut sheetrock, like sheets of sheetrock, and screw them into the wall properly. And then the next guys come in and they do all the mud and the tape and all the finesse.
They make it look pretty.
Yeah, they make it look pretty. And so anyway, I'm just like, man, and then while I'm there, Adrian, I see this he had thought that we were going to wrap these beams in cedar. And so he had cut back the sheetrock at the very top to account for cedar. And I'm like, oh man, we're not doing cedar. We're doing, we're just going to,
they're exposed already. They're
we're going to sand them and stain them. He's like, okay, well, and I'm like, is there anything you can do to kind of finish off that little notch that you did there? Cause it looked very raw. He's like, I mean, I could try to make a corner, but I was like, dude, if it's a corner or not, just try to make it look clean. I trust you. Just make it look nice, But these little bitty, I mean, at the end of the day, it wouldn't be the worst thing ever. And I'm sure, Angel, the painter, could figure out that, okay, so this is, and then we'll get into news. So I sent you this yesterday.
Okay.
Speaking of Angel, the painter, going through my pictures, going down memory lane, I go back to 2021 and this was right around the time, I think, when I was buying my very, very first flip, Cherrywood.
Okay.
This was, it ended up being a $5 renovation because all I did was go get a little thing to cap off the refrigerator line that was leaking in the kitchen. Okay. That was it.
Yeah.
But I did that one day thinking I'm going to start bringing in guys to give me quotes for the renovation. In the meantime, my brother-in-law, Dustin, who's been on the podcast, go back and listen to his episode, says, hey, have you even considered what a cash buyer would give you that? And that was in the height of just cash buyer offers.
Right.
I was like, I don't know, I'll check it out. So I throw it out to a few cash buyers. They offer me a great number. I think it was like close to a $50,000 profit or 40. I don't even know. It was up there. I was like, oh my gosh. Okay, well, sure. So then I ended up not doing any. But in the meantime, I had listened to a probably Bigger Pockets.
Yep.
And they had said, one good place, and this is before we connected, you and me, one good place to find good contractors is at Home Depot. And you can just see who's there, call the truck. So multiple screenshots in a row, I had taken pictures of contractors, of their vans, and I was going to call them. And in 2021 at a stoplight, I took the picture of the back of a white van. Wow. And I'm looking through these pictures and it says Angel's painting. Yeah. I'm like, well, I know there's a lot of Angels out there, that paint. No, that's just is what it is. And I'm like, it's probably not that. I look up his number. I'm like, that is Angel Cifuentes, the painter that we
don't
use
forget
now.
his first name is Miguel, right? So it usually
that's crazy. So I'm like, are you kidding me? Like I was behind his truck. I hadn't reconnected with you. No, I had not reconnected with you. I did not know who Angel was. I was just at a light thinking, I got to find a painter. There's one right there. I took a picture of it. I have no idea where I was. And here I am going through pictures years later. Now I use Angel. That's who I'm waiting to show up to do this other job. Is that crazy?
Wow. Yeah.
That's bizarre. Of all the cars and all the vans that have
all the
numbers
paint
on
trucks out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Something
all
about
the paint
that
trucks.
One caught your name.
Super
we'll
cool.
Tell him his
crazy
marketing worked.
His marketing worked 5 years later. Hey, Angel, answer my phone
Yeah,
call.
indirectly. I mean, you didn't even know, that you
I
had
know
already
that's
been
a
privy
that's a
to him
crazy
before. So
that's a
that's
crazy
amazing.
story. So, okay, let's get into a little bit of news. All right, so we're going to do a market update sooner than later, probably next week. Like really dive into uh, the
What's going
market.
on?
But I will say I've been listening a lot to Housing Wire Daily, and there's an economist on there 3 or 4 times a week, and really bright, charismatic guy. So it's a quick
Yep.
listen, 20-minute ish listen. It's a little bit arduous to listen to housing economic reports every day. There's just not that much that
Yeah.
changes from day to day.
Yep.
But they are
Well,
waiting
everyone's got
for
a
the
different
Fed.
opinion.
Yeah, the Fed is making decisions, and
Well,
they think there's going to be a
supposedly
new
the
Fed
Fed
chair, and
decided to stay strong, stay hold, and
mhm.
not reduce the rates right now. Which,
Right, and they
when you hear the last inflation report, there's been a lot of people that are saying, "Yeah, don't raise don't lower the rates." If
right,
anything, some people have been even saying to raise them back up a little bit.
right,
But
and
go ahead.
unemployment rates are actually doing well, and so there's a few of these core indicators that say, yeah, we're not dropping.
Yeah.
So that being said, is according to that Dallas Morning News, U.S. housing market price growth slows for the fourth straight month, and Dallas values go down. For a national gauge, prices rose over 2.3% year over year, and so we're still seeing year over year growth in general. Right now, Dallas is up 0.33 year over year, but from
Okay.
month to month, it's down zero point 0.6. So it is on a downward trajectory,
Yeah.
but we're still absorbing last year's gain. So year over year, we have not quite crossed that threshold. But when we do, I can guarantee you will see it all over the place that prices are dropping, and it becomes sort
Okay.
of
And
this
is that
news
that's a
story.
year over year price evaluation is what that's looking at?
I guess, just average prices, sold prices, value of homes.
Got it.
I don't know
Okay.
exactly where they're pulling their data from. Um, New York had the largest gain at 7.4%. Chicago and Detroit are up 6%. So,
Oh
comparatively
wow.
speaking,
Okay.
we're not keeping pace with that. Tampa had a drop of 2.4%. So, we're not there. And then
Interesting.
us, San Francisco, Denver had very slight dips. So we're kind of
Yeah.
neutral, neutral to barely
Yeah.
negative. Even the drops, the quote unquote
And we've always
drop is
been, I mean, our
2.4%.
market compared to the rest of the country has always kind of been this this
Mm-hmm.
stable market.
Yeah.
You go back to, 20 years ago when the rest of the country was failing, and we kind of leveled out to where it was flat, wasn't much of an increase, but
Yeah.
then we had some great increases, when everyone else did, a couple of years ago. But um, I think we're pretty steady. And, and again, it goes back. It's like beating a dead horse talking about pricing and value and stuff like that. And we don't have, um, it's funny. And I bring this up. So, I don't know, last time that we talked, I think I was getting ready to list our latest flip in North Garland on Greenfield, and so it went on the market. Ended up only getting like 3 showings. I think
Hmm.
we had an open house. Ended up, I think that open house actually helped because I believe the couple that bought it lived in the neighborhood, showed up at the open house, went to the open house, then called their agent and said, "Hey, we're interested in this property. What does this look like?" And they owned another home in the neighborhood. So the first call I got was, "Hey, are you open to a contingent offer?" And of course, I was like, look, I'll look at anything. I own the property, but
It's a little
let's
early.
talk it through.
Yeah.
And so, anyways, it all worked out. They ended up coming in, and I got an asking price on it, and only had 3 showings, so it was less than the 10 showings per one. But activity wasn't crazy, right? So definitely slowing down in activity. But if you do the project correctly and you take the right approach with it, you price it, you price it within reason and competitively. The people that looked at it will tell you I was priced high. Even the offer originally came in a little bit lower, not crazy, but it came in a little bit lower than my asking. And excuse me, the agent on the other side has been around for a long time, and
Didn't you say she was an 02 number?
I think she's an 02 number.
That's
yeah,
insane.
I'm an 05 number, and you're what, 07? Are you
Yeah.
an 07 number? Yeah, so it just kind of gives you an idea that she's been around for a while.
Yeah, I've been around.
And so, you know, she was very sweet about it, but I just said, look,
She taught
here's where
Abby
I'm at.
Halliday how to host open houses back in the day.
Exactly. And she is with Abby. So
She is with Abby.
Yeah, she is with Abby.
She may have opened the doors of the first Abby Halliday
so
office.
Sweet lady, actually very, very, very easy to work with in the sense that, you know, it's just, you know, anyways, we've both been around a long time and both good synergy and talk through it. So she, you know, kind of pushed back a little bit on value. I pushed back with the things that I had to back it up. I sent her the detail and, you know, the renovation stuff. And I just said, look, if it doesn't appraise, you know, I'll be willing to renegotiate based on the appraisal. So if it doesn't appraise, you know, look, but I want my number. This is where I'm at, you know, and I'll meet your needs if you guys can meet my needs. And so we agreed to it. Great. Right. Appraisal was done. Actually, the lender's on it too, by the way. And they ended up doing a bridge loan, so it's a win-win for everybody. But they end up doing an appraisal like 2 days ago, and so I sent everything over to the guy, and you know they never really go into detail when I send them the information. They just say thank you, right? So I just sent them the CMA and I sent them the detail sheet. I don't bug them. I just kind of broke it down. I did do a little bit of compare and contrast to another comp that's on the same street that just sold for the same price, but it was a little bigger. And, you know, that was a little bit of the argument with the other agent. And I had to basically push back and just say, mine's a superior product. This
isn't an apples to apples thing.
Yeah. This is what this guy did. And I pointed out several of those things that they didn't do versus what I did. And
yours is the media from scratch. Theirs is the Taco Bell. And yes, technically both of you sell Mexican food.
Yeah.
However, the closer you look, if you'll just spend a little time inside the restaurant, you will notice
pay attention to the menu and the ingredients and where it comes from.
Yeah.
So ultimately I got the email yesterday that appraised and met value. So I don't know if it's over, under, if they just met the value, but overall, everybody's happy, good, you know, not having to adjust price. So just going back to that though, it is challenging. You've got a couple listings right now in that, you know, $750,000 price point, right?
I got one coming on tomorrow. I got one at 745.
Yeah.
And the random one about that, so we're at 82 days and we've gone through these lulls of showings, but in the last week we've had 6 private showings. We had 8 people show up at the open house, like more activity. And then even these lease listings that I've had, all of a sudden we're starting to get some inquiries of these properties that have been sitting for so it's almost like people have been sort of circling, and now all of a sudden maybe the end of the summer, like we got to make a few decisions here.
Yeah, maybe they've been waiting on the rates to drop, and now that they're not dropping,
I don't know. Okay, I don't know if everyone's that sophisticated. I just don't know.
I don't think so either. But
maybe they just. I don't know. I mean, I think at some point life is life, and you're like, dude, we got to find a place to stay. You know, let's just find the best thing we can find the next week or two. Yeah. And they have to start making these decisions, which actually puts the leverage a little bit more back in the seller's hand, because you know you have a timeline, and if you only have 2 or 3 properties, you can say all day, well, I'll just go make an offer on another property. But there's probably only a few that really are something that you really want to live in for 5 or 6 years. So, but yeah, we've had, the traffic has been interesting this week.
I mean, it gives us something to talk about, right? We don't have that crystal ball. We don't know what the market's doing. I mean, nobody knows. Yeah. That's why there's all this different chatter all the time. I mean, it's a hot topic anywhere you look and talk about real estate, because nobody knows. We
Nobody
have
knows.
projections and we can
They've been
talk about what's
projecting the
going
rate
on,
drops for
but
months and a year.
it's
And
different. It's challenging.
yeah.
Another thing that happened, and this is, it's a risk factor, but, so we were talking, I think the last podcast that we did about that $1 million home up in Frisco. And I think on our podcast, I was like sounding like, we were trying to go a different direction with it and try to go, more of a broker perspective with the owner. And ultimately the owner wanted the easy button. So we ended up inking that deal, and we're set to close it here in the middle of August. And
will that be will that be your highest price flip? I mean,
It's
outside of,
definitely my
let's say,
highest-
23 Custer. I mean, so is that your
It's
highest
definitely my
purchase
highest
point?
acquisition.
Okay.
I mean,
yeah.
so I've done some other projects, right? New builds and Custer and things like that were a lower acquisition, more reno, which the reno got me close, to these numbers.
Well, I guess even Aaron's property was like that. Lower acquisition, more reno.
Yep.
ARV will be about the same.
Yeah. I mean, so they were over $1 million projects, but just a different approach. I mean, this is just, it's a little bit uncomfortable territory, paying $1 million to get into a deal.
Stretching a little bit.
But and the challenging part with that is this particular neighborhood's got a lot of things going for it, specifically being gated, and it definitely has a lot of markers that stand up next to its competition. But there's like 2 or 3 homes in there that aren't moving. And in fact, there's 2 brand new listings that after we inked this deal, the owner sent me and said, "Hey, look at these." And they're listed, about $150,000 higher than what I'm projecting is kind of my bottom number. In fact, maybe 100,000 higher, because I had to bump my numbers up a little bit to get comfortable with it.
Yeah.
Anyways, he's like, "Hey, check these out." And so he sent them to me, and they're only on the market now a couple weeks. I mean, they're still pretty new listings.
But nothing's like but
they're not under contract.
Yeah.
They're not under contract, right?
Yeah.
And so if one of them does hit and goes under, that's a great thing. So far, they haven't. So it is a little bit of this
little nervousness.
A little bit of nervousness. Now, they're both higher than where I was projecting, but anyways, it is one of those uncomfortable territories a little bit when you get into these larger projects.
Well, if that one goes through and is successful, and we go to dinner, I'm going to order 1 extra appetizer, because this will be a great project.
Get you the tomahawk. So
I'll never be tomahawk guy. I may be ribeye guy with extra appetizer. And you want to split a dessert? That's right? That's me. That's as good as it gets.
Is just a ribeye with a bone in it. But
yeah, I will not be I'll be like, oh no, that's okay. Okay, so let's. But obviously that's going to be an amazing project to watch up close. And so I'm going to share this real quick for those professionals out there that are always looking for a nice little tip. I have been using this app, and it came up in the news.
Yeah.
You can now find.
Shout out to Susan Casson and David Casson, because they're the ones that
did they tell us about this?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Redfin News. Thank you, Susan. You can now find Cubicasa floor plans on Redfin, and I don't really know exactly what that means, but so Cubicasa is this app, and yeah, Susan told us about it. I think it came up in Seth Mills may use it up at the office or something. I've heard about it. And then I can't remember the first time I tried it, but I told you, I think I can get a floor plan. Maybe it was at the last one over in Garland, and so you download this app, and really for free, they have a free version. You can walk around the house. It takes about 5 minutes, and it takes them 24 hours, and it sends you a really nice 2D black and white floor plan. For $15, you can kind of go the next level, where they show you the door swing direction, the toilets, the showers, kind of the next level. That's only $15. I mean, when you're going through full price, full package media, I mean, the floor plan upgrades $100 or $150.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Now Cubicasa has some other upgrades. I think you can do 3D renderings maybe, or you can go nuts with what you're asking for
But
them.
you really don't need to. I think
You
just
don't
a
need
basic
to.
floor plan
Yeah.
is completely sufficient.
Yeah. This says floor plans consistently rank as one of the most desired digital assets on a home listing.
Yep.
And you've been saying that for a while, and we've been doing floor plans on the properties. And even if the measurements aren't exact, I mean, it just gives you a nice idea of the flow. We actually went and did one. I did one for you the other day on a house you were considering buying, just so you hadn't been able to walk the property, but I did. I went ahead and took a Cubicasa, and I said, I think if you knock this wall out, blah, 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 it could open this up. And it just helps you paint that picture better.
Yeah.
Now that house didn't work out because I think they wanted about 50 grand more than we could offer, but at least we were able to go through the practice of, here's what you could do, take this, this is where the air unit is, and take this out, whatever. So yeah, this is really neat to see Cubicasa. I don't know how it integrates with Redfin. I mean, if I upload it onto the MLS, it's obviously shooting out to everybody.
I think maybe they're just saying that maybe it's going to be part of their standard protocol
package
now.
Or something.
Maybe
all Redfin agents are going to put one on there. That's why you use a Redfin agent or something. Well, look, you can use this agent, and he will also do a free Cubicasa floor plan for you. So, and I may even upgrade to the $15 one. They'll show where the doors are swinging.
Well, and it's also nice from like the renovation piece, because you just did one for me on the property we're buying in I call it Richardson. It's technically Dallas, but it's Richardson.
Oh yeah, I did one
ISD.
there too. Yep.
And the main reason I had you do it, it was just a quick. It doesn't go into full scale, and the measurements aren't like. It's tough to take that and put it in CAD and create a floor plan out of it, right? But from a quick analysis and layout of looking at it from a bird's eye view and going, okay, we got all these closets here. Is there something I can easily do with this closet space to turn it into something else and make this a little bit more user friendly and more desirable? And so that's why I had you do it, to just try to look at it from a different approach and say, is there something easy I can do here without, just demoing and tearing up walls to start to say, how do we make this work? Mm-hmm. It's a little easier just to sketch it out from a floor plan point of view.
Yeah. So super cool to see. We'll get to a few more stories here. Dallas Morning News. I thought of you again. Amazon selects Terrell for new distribution center, bringing 1,000 jobs.
Hey.
So you decide to buy a commercial property in downtown Terrell, and now all of a sudden, major corporations are like, "Look, this is our indicator." This is like Starbucks looking for the new McDonald's going in. They're like, "Look, this is happening." They do good research. We're going in across the street. So they all knew that
officially own that building now. So
Tavis Westbrook has officially dipped his toes into Terrell, and now look at this: Amazon selects Terrell for new distribution center, bringing 1,000 jobs. So wow. That's really cool.
It makes sense, because
there's a lot of space
Terrell's
out there.
Not that far off from, you've got, Highway 80 to come back this side of town and jump on 635 or go to 20 or whatever. So, and cost, of warehousing out there is much less expensive than anything inside of the 635 loop. So,
yep. So, real quick here, we live in Plano, or you live in Plano. I live in Carrollton, just south of this property. JCPenney's was based here for a long, long time. I think it's still technically based here.
Yep.
It sold. It's downsizing, and I think it went through some sort of bankruptcy. Yeah, 2020 bankruptcy. Property for almost 120 JCPenney store sold for almost $1 billion. And I thought, $1 billion seems pretty cheap to buy 120 JCPenney stores. That's a lot of square footage. Like some big development company just bought a lot of square footage for,
what is that per store?
947 million square feet.
It's 120 billion.
No. 947. Dude, we're horrible at math. We should have done this before. $947 million purchase price. And then they bought 120 stores.
Almost sold for $1 billion. I got it. Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know what the square footage is, so it's hard to say. But I mean, just knowing how big these stores are, I mean, that's a lot of square footage for I mean, obviously $1 billion is a lot, but some development company just picked up a bunch. And I thought that was really neat. Along the lines of
Yeah, it's
JCPenney's,
almost 8 million a store. It's not doesn't seem out of line for the square footage of these places.
maybe. Yeah, I guess. I guess if you think about it that way, $8 million for a JCPenney
I
store
mean, it
somewhere.
seems kind of high in reference, but I mean,
Dude,
it is a
you're
lot of
saying they
square
should have
footage.
negotiated a little bit better. I think they got a killer deal, and you're like, I don't know about that. Um, so this also goes along with the news that so JCPenney is going through kind of a rebranding. They sold to a parent company. I randomly was listening to a podcast this morning, and there was an ad for JCPenney. It was this national podcast. I'm like, that's kind of. I
Oh,
remember
wow.
thinking that's kind of a weird. It's kind of a weird thing. And so their old luxury hotel is turning into their old headquarters in Plano is turning into a Japanese luxury hotel. This looks really cool. It's going to be the tallest rooftop bar outside of downtown Dallas, and it's going to be right there near Shops of Legacy and the Corporate Avenue and all that stuff there in Plano. And so this is coming in. This is a Japanese based company, and with Toyota headquarters right there, they're actually really catering to a lot of Japanese companies that are based around here. 217 room, 13-story hotel will be coming in, and completion date is in 2027. So that's pretty cool.
Wow.
JCPenney is downsizing, but doing the best they can with their property there, and they're making it into something, and it's not just going to sit there and rot. And I read in the article that they've consolidated into a company that has a bunch of brands that I'd heard of, and they're really doing well, evidently. So hopefully they kind of come back strong. A report in Dallas Morning News: where are all the people coming from? So a lot of times we hear about California. If you had to guess, what state is the leading state bringing people to the DFW area?
That's a good question. So it's not California.
It's not California. California's number
about
5.
California.
California's number 5.
Let's see. Where would be?
It's not a sexy state. It is Oklahoma.
Oklahoma.
Oklahoma. 45
Right,
minutes
our
north.
neighbor.
Our neighbor to the north.
Okay.
They have such a good time at the Cotton Bowl every year watching OU and UT play. They're like, you know what? This place seems great. And they're just going to move down here. So,
well, it makes sense. I mean, because I can't say, you don't really think about Oklahoma being a place that has anything that is based out of Oklahoma in a way, except for casinos. I mean,
well, they're about to
they
build
do have. I mean, obviously,
remember,
there's, go ahead.
There's stuff. They're building that huge skyscraper. We'll have to bring that back up, like this ridiculously tall skyscraper, and it's that is going forward, and that's going to be the most crazy looking, like in downtown Oklahoma City. Yeah, it's like way taller than anything we have. So finishing up here. So Oklahoma, number 2 is Florida, number 3 is Louisiana, which reminds me I need to meet with my crew from Louisiana to become their go-to referral partner. Arkansas, number 4, California, number 5. This is all from U-Haul.
I mean, I was going to say, but it's funny. You got a lot of people from Texas that want to go to Florida. So
yeah, I also will say, does a report from U-Haul actually indicate? I mean, how many people are in California being like, "Honey, rent a U-Haul"? And they're mostly probably going like Mayflower. I mean, does U-Haul do the big semi trucks and? I mean, I guess U-Haul would make more sense of like, hey, let's go from Oklahoma, Louisiana, Arkansas.
But if you do think about it, like there's a lot of Florida that's like rural and you're not near the beach, right? We think of Florida and we think beach, just like people think of Texas and think cowboy hats and horses. But, and yes, that exists, but it's not everything.
Yeah, it's interesting. But yeah, I mean, in general, I know I have a couple I'm looking for right now that they're moving in from California. I've had people come in from Colorado, Tennessee.
You feel like you're narrowing that down at all?
For them, yes and no. They like a smaller area, but what we're looking for is a little bit nichey. And they're stuck in this limbo of, hey, when we find a couple good things, we'll come back into town. But then
Got
they
it.
almost need to come back into town to just really mentally narrow down some areas that they like because they've only been here once. So I'm seeing if they'll come back in. I'm going to try to find 2, 3, 4 that are good, maybe even in different parts of town. And we'll go from there. So, well,
Okay.
that will do it for the news. That will do it for actually, no, I teased this. Let me just real quick, because we're running up on time. We're at 50 minutes. We're good. So let me show you this, because again, doing the car page, Facebook page here, luxury homes and luxury garage and hangar homes in North Texas. So I found this home here. This actually came active this week. It's been on the market 7 days, and we will click on some of these photos for you. This is an unbelievable property down in Dallas. 10 acres on Lawther Drive. Do you know where West Lawther Drive is?
Yeah. Yep.
Look at this old school estate. 10 acres. And
wow.
we're talking about 4009 West Lawther Drive. I will link it in our show description. But it looks like the White House. It kind of looks like the White House.
Very familiar with that. If you've ever been, on the White Rock Trail,
yeah,
jogging or riding a bike, you've seen this house.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it definitely has a White House look.
When was it built?
1929.
It was definitely, yeah. So it was like, and at that one point, it may have owned a lot more acres than 10.
I bet. I mean, the house right now, so it was built in 29. It's 10,700 square feet.
Holy smokes.
So think about 1929. You're facing White Rock Lake right there. And you can look out your dining room and you see White Rock Lake.
It's got
just unbelievable. There. Tons of history. Now you go to the master bedroom here, I assume is the master. And one of their decorations are empty bottles of wine on the mantle and in front of the fireplace. And so
that's odd.
And there's a few over here on the dresser. So whoever lived here, they're like, I guess show up if you want to, but I'm not cleaning out my bottles of wine. I do me. So check this out. There's one of the garages has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
was it set up
6
as an
pinball.
Airbnb? Kind of looks like it.
I don't know. There's no way. I mean, this is grandkids central here. This is 7 pinball machines. And then they've got the foosball, or is that shuffleboard? Then they've got a bowling alley, a 4-lane bowling alley, old timey 1950s
even got
diner.
The digital screens up on top. Like
they do have the digital screens. They upgraded.
Yeah, they definitely hired like Main Event to come in, and
Grandpa's up just sipping on wine, and he's like, "Y'all do whatever you want."
The fact that the wine bottles were in the master like that is hilarious.
4 bowling lanes. And then look at this garage they've got. And they call it a concourse garage. And concourse to elegance is those is like a certain level of car show, actually, concourse shows. And so I'm assuming they have some
in there.
Really interesting, but not your typical Lamborghini things. I mean, they've got some neat Volkswagen old school buses that all look renovated. Then they have a nice gym, pool table, kind of standard library and all this. Now look at that library. Look at it. It's looking out over the lake.
Wow.
Really, really cool.
If you guys haven't looked this thing up, what's the address again? 4009
West Lawther. I'll put it out on social and on the link. And
yeah,
you've got to see.
Cool
this
garage.
This is a peek into old Dallas money right here, because it does not get any more old Dallas money. 10 acres. They've got an actual golf green,
putting green. And it looks like actually
tennis
par 3 or something.
Yeah, it was like a par 3, and they got a tennis court. And this is classic. It looks like it's from the Great Gatsby or something.
It does.
Yeah. So I will link that. Really fun to check that out. It's been on the market 7 days. List price $19,950,000. They wanted to get under that $20 million mark, so they went $19,950,000.
Who's
just
the
in case
listing
someone was
agent on this?
searching and they didn't want to miss out on a few people.
Who's a listing agent?
Allie Beth Alman herself.
Oh, all right. You go, Allie Beth Alman.
Also an O2 number. Maybe she knows your friend.
She might.
That other agent. They've known each other. They've been to conferences together for a long time.
Yeah.
I doubt Allie Beth Alman lists just a ton of homes herself anymore. And she gets to cherry pick the ones that are $20 million.
Yes.
That's amazing. So anyway, that will do it for today's show. If you have not yet, please subscribe so you can get every episode when it drops. You get a little text. Like I got a text this morning that says, reminder, you got to go to the dentist, be there at 8. I'm like, oh man. But that thing can happen for your podcast. So you subscribe, you get a text that says, hey, they just dropped an episode on Spotify, Apple, I'm sure Google and all these other ones. They have these little notification things you can get. So you never miss an episode. And it makes it very easy for you to share it with a friend. And we would love that if you could spread the love a little bit. We are getting a few more listeners here and there. And it's always nice to run into people out in the world that listen to our podcast. And it's a lot of fun to hear that and get feedback. So we do appreciate all of those nice words. And if you ever have any feedback of certain topics you would like us to touch on, or any stories that you would like us to dive deep on, properties that you would like us to highlight, we would obviously do that as well. If you have a house that needs to sell quickly, please contact us and we would come walk it, give you a number. And I'm doing a lot of traditional business, doing leasing, doing buys and sells, all the things over the DFW area. Yep, irons in the fire. And then tomorrow I'm rolling my sleeves up. I'm getting my demo on. So just staying busy. So that will do it for today's show. Hope you have a great day. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks so much. Later.